Good morning, all. Welcome again to the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. So, we'll start our session with a positive thought. So, today's thought is work hard, dream big, never give up. Okay, so we'll start our session with the glance of previous session. So, what we have discussed in previous session is strategic planning. As you know that strategic planning and strategic thinking are both a different process. So strategic planning is an organization's process of defining its strategy or direction and making uh, resources to perceive this strategy, including the capital and the people. So, this is the process for determining where an organization wants to be in the short term and as well as in the long term. For example, 3 to 5 years or more than that years. Without a clear plan of the direction in which the company wants to move, green initiative are likely to remain isolate from the rest of the business initiatives and process and will not form a part of the company's overreaching strategy. So as you know that strategic planning is starts with a prior mission statement and a vision and leads to the formulation of goals and objectives. The mission statement tells you the fundamental purpose of the organization, and it also defines the customers and critical processes and inform you of the desired level of performance. And a vision statement outlines what the organization wants to be and how it wants the world in which it operates to be. Okay, so it concentrates on the futures as a source of inspiration and provides clear decision making criteria. For example, if a company is comprehensively moving uh, towards a green environment, it should be identified in the vision statement. Even if only the IT aspects is going green, and identifying that vision here identifies that the highest company level and green is critical, which greatly strengthen the IT department's position to accomplish its green objective. So every IT department should have its own strategic plan that should support that of the company in the mission statement as well as in the vision and moves toward green IT. And the plan should be approved by uh, the people organization management for full comprehensive support, and then circulate throughout the management team and to all employees of the IT department. This informs everyone of the direction in which IT is moving, or for example, moving towards greening, and encourage them to be a part of the change, thus getting the critical buy-in needed for sources or the success. Okay, so next, the implementation. So strategic implementation, IT should be recognized as a strategic resources, one that can make a difference and actively support the uh, company. Peer and partners cannot always see the best ways to leverage IT as a strategic resources, so that the IT manager must makes it part of his or her job to ensure that the IT is seen in this light, as this action will also increase IT visibility. This increased visibility then allows the IT manager to demonstrate how green IT can have a positive value impact for the company. So as we have seen in the diagram, that the process by understanding the process and procedures currently in use and the habit of the IT community of the users and customers and some values processes can actually hire some green initiatives. For example, just small changes in your daily routine can make a huge difference. Okay, for example, turning off computers and power strips and the end of the day prevent patches from being automatically pushed. This should not be an implement to the greening action. It needs to change the process of pushing patches by looking for other options, such as asking the users what time they would like the patches to be pushed, or pushing them prior to the computer shutting down. New habits needs to develop that procedure both real and perceived value, which means a new set of rules for IT management also. So, to build a green environment, you must modify or abolish many old and familiar ways of doing businesses. So, there is no silver bullet or a single vendor solution for IT to magically become green. We need to set our rules before, or we need to change ourselves before we want to green initiatives. Okay, so we'll start our today's session. So what we are going to discuss in today's sessions are enterprise architecture planning, then types of layers which we are support, which those layers that supports the EAP, that is enterprise architecture planning. So the next year assignments, then MCQ questions. So we'll start our session with the key points. So what we are having today's sessions describing the enterprise architecture planning. Then we are discussing information assurance and the risk management as a part of the process of implementation of green IT. Okay, so we'll start our session with EAP, that is enterprise architecture planning. So as you have seen the strategic planning, the next step is to develop the architecture that is needed to support the green initiative to maximize their impact and support their implementation. So enterprise architecture is a methodology for developing a series of architectural framework, that is current, intermediate and target. Okay, so the steps which are we are having with the present and the intermediate and what we want to be, also known as the mitigation plan. So these frameworks details all relevant structure within the organization, including business, applications, technology, and data. They are religious, taxonomy, and ontology that clearly identify what processes a business perform and give detailed information about how these processes are executed. The result is a set of architects that describes in varying degrees of details exactly what and how a business operates and what resources are required to run the components with maximum efficiency and profits. Got it? What is architecture? Enterprise planning. Moving towards a comprehensive green IT environment can compare to remolding a house. Firstly, the objective and the strategies of the company must be known and incorporate into the strategic planning for the new green environment. What should the new greenhouse achieve? For example, lower energy cost, reduce the carbon footprint. Must IT manager do not have the luxury of starting from the scratch? throwing out all the old equipments, networks and system and buying all new ones. So a plan is needed. So enterprise architecture planning is the process of defining architectures for the use of information in support for the business, and the plan for implementing those architectures. The business mission is a primary driver, followed by the data requirement to satisfy the mission. Then the applications are built using the data, finally followed by the technology to implement these applications. So this hierarchy of activity is represented in different forms of layers. For example, so we are having different forms of layers with respect to the enterprise architecture planning. Okay, so the from the top to bottom we are having each and different layers. For example, in layer 1 we'll start getting started plan. Okay, so a layer 2 shows that the vision of where we are today, the enterprise, and third layer shows the vision of where we want to be in future. So fourth layer shows how we plan to get our mission and vision. So see in the diagram, this diagram shows the different levels in the enterprise architecture planning, which the layers are implemented in the order from top to bottom. Enterprise architecture planning takes a data-centric approach to provide data quality, access to data, adaptability to changing requirements, data interoperability, and sharing, and cost containment. The alternative, more traditional view is the application should be defined before data needs are determined or provided for, but puts a stronger focus on the data needed for the mission. Both can be implemented successfully. So regardless of which model choose, or the organization or the enterprise choose, there are four critical layers to successful enterprise architecture planning. So what we are having in level 1? So level 1 is nothing but the planning initiation. So this planning initiation layers leads to producing an EAP work plan and stresses the necessity of high level management commitment to support and resource the subsequent steps in the process. Planning initiation include decision on which methodology to use, who should be involved, what other support is required, and what tool set will be used in planning initiation. So we'll move to the level 2. So what we are having in level 2? The vision of where we are today. Okay, so what we are having in level 2, the vision of where we are today. So this layer provides a baseline for defining the eventual architecture and the long range migration plan. It consists of business modeling and the current system and technology. So business process modeling, which is a completion of the knowledge base about the business function and the information used in conducting and supporting the various business process. It also consists of current system and technology, which defines the current application system and supporting technology platforms. So we'll move to the next layer. What the next layer is? The next layer is the vision of where we want to be in future. Okay, so what the layers define and how this layer can be defined. So this layer delineates the data architecture, defining the major kinds of data needed, application architecture, defining the major kind of application needed to manage that data, and technology architecture, which defines the technology platform needed to support the applications. So last layer, that is level 4, which is nothing but how we plan to get there. To get there means to achieve our goal. So what this layer defines? So this, the implementation and mitigation plans define the sequence for implementing applications, schedule for implementation, a cost benefit analysis, and a clear path for migration. So a successful move to a comprehensive green IT environment will starts with the continually utilize enterprise architecture to ensure that a strong compatible structure is built. So hope you will understood this. So we'll move to the recap of today's session. So what we have discussed today, we have discussed about the EAP, that is the enterprise architecture planning and their layers. Okay, so what the enterprise architecture planning defines? So it EAP, following the strategy planning, the next step is to develop the architecture that is needed to support the green initiative and to maximize their impact and support their implementation as well. So enterprise architecture is a methodology for developing a series of architectures frameworks which has different steps, that is the current, intermediate, and target, often known as is mitigation plan. Okay, so these framework detail all relevant structures within the organization, including business, application, technology, and the data as well. So they are a religious taxonomy and ontology that clearly identify what process a business perform and give detailed information about how those processes are executed, and the result is a set of artifacts that describe in varying degrees of details and exactly what and how a business operates, and what and how resources are required to run the components with maximum efficiency and profit. So moving towards a compressive green IT environment can be compared to remodeling a house, or for firstly the objective and strategies of the company must be known and incorporated into the strategic planning for the new green environment, and what should the new green house achieve. For example, lower energy costs, reduce the carbon footprints. Must IT manager do not have the luxury of starting from the scratch, throwing out all the old equipments or networks and the systems and buying all new ones. A plan is needed. So enterprise architecture is a process of defining structures for the use of information in support of the business and the plan for implementing those architectures. The business mission is the primary driver and followed by the data required to satisfy the mission. So then the applications are built using those data, finally followed by technology to implement these applications. So as we have seen, the enterprise architecture has four different layers. So each layers will define different categories. For example, layer 1 will shows getting started from the beginning. So this plan initiates layer leads to producing an EAP framework or plan and stresses the necessity of high level management commitment to support and resource the subsequent steps in the process. And planning initiation include decision on which methodology to use, who should be involved, what other supports is required, and what tool set will be used. So in layer 2, what they are having, they define the vision of where we are today. Okay, in layer 2, what they have defined, they are defining the vision where we are today. So this layers provides a baseline for defining the actual architecture and the long range migration plan. It consists of business. Okay, so business process modeling, which is a compilation of a knowledge base about the business functions and the information used in conducting and supporting the various business processes. It also consists of current system and technology, and a definition of current application system and supporting technology platform. So in layer 3, what they have defined the vision of we want to be where we want to be in future. So what this layer says, that delineates the data architecture, defining the major kinds of data needed, application architecture, defining the major kinds of application needed to manage the data, and technology architecture, that defining the technology platform needed to support those applications. So at the last, layer 4, what it is, layer 4 shows that how we want to get there, means to achieve our target. So what this layer says, this layer has the implementation and migration plan, define the sequence for implementing applications, a schedule for implementation, a cost benefit analysis, and a clear path for migration. So a successful move to compressive green IT environment will start with the continue utilize enterprise architecture to ensure that a strong compatible structure is built. So hope you will understood this. So next we will move to the assignment session. So in assignments, what we are having today, we are having three different descriptive type questions. Those are, first one, explain in details EAP. So EAP is nothing but your enterprise architecture planning. Okay. So what we have discussed just now. So your next question is, explain the four critical layers of enterprise architecture planning with a need diagram. So you need to define each and every layers with respect to its uh, application, means what the layer is to be. Okay, as you know that layer 1 says that getting started. Okay, so what is the layer 2? Layer 2 shows this the vision of where we are today. So layer 3 shows that the vision where we want to be, and the last layer means last layer says that how we plan to get there. Okay, clear? So next question is, explain what is the purpose of each layer in EAP. So just I said that each layer has its own definition and planning to achieve their goals. Okay. So next we'll move to the MCQ questions. So your first question is, the ecological footprint is an dash tool for ecological resources. Okay, so you need to tell which tool is used as an ecological footprint. So your options are accounting, management, decision making, financial. So your answer is accounting. So the ecological footprint is an accounting tool for ecological resources. Okay, so we'll move to the next question. Eco tracking tools needed to be available which? So which eco tracking tool is needed to avail which one? Okay, so your options are, do not allow you to trace environmental footprint, avoids data collection, third one, set up an environmental management system, last one, help in decision making. So what do you think? Which eco tracking tools need to be aware. Yes, you're right. That is set up an environmental management system. Okay, so your answer is C. Eco tracking tool needs to be available with set up an environmental management system. We'll move to the next one. A sustainability report is the key platform for communicating dash and impact, whether positive or negative. So, what kind of sustainability report is the key platform for communicating dash and impact, whether positive or negative? So, your options are sustainability performance, management decision, financial analysis, and information. What do you think? A sustainability report. Sustainability report will have the key for performance only, sustainability performance. So a sustainability report is the key platform for communicating sustainability performance and impacts, whether the positive or negative. So your answer is A, that is sustainability performance. Okay, so shall I move to next? Okay, so adverse social impacts could be in the form of dash. Adverse social impacts could be in the form of dash. Your options are loss of land, loss of structure, loss of livelihood, all of the above. So what do you think? What are the social impact could be in the form of dash? So yes, your answer is D. That is all of the above. That is loss of land, loss of structures, loss of livelihood. Shall I move to next? Okay. So next is production, transformation and use of energy are the major problem of. So what do you think? What are the major problems for production, information and usage of energy? Industrial activity, sustainable development, global warming, acid rain. Production, transformation and use of energy are the major problem of, yes, you're right, industrial activities. Right? Production, transformation and usage of energy will be takes place in the different industrial purpose, means in industrial activities. Okay, so production, transformation and use of energy are the major problem of industrial activity. Okay, so next we'll move to the next. A chemical industry is not a cause of air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, nuclear pollution. So what do you think? A chemical industry is not a cause of air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution or nuclear pollution. So yes, that is nuclear pollution. A chemical industry is not a cause of nuclear pollution. Okay. Next, electronic waste is the adverse effect of industry, agriculture, housing, mining. Electronic waste is the adverse effects of, yes, industry. Right? Electronic waste is the adverse effect of industry. Your answer is A. Okay. So next, extraction of mineral and metal from the earth is, extraction of mineral and metal from the earth is. Your options are agriculture, transportation, mining, sustainable development. So what do you think? Extraction of mineral and metal from the earth is agriculture? No. Transportation? No. Sustainable development? No. Yes, it is mining. Okay, where you get the minerals, metals from the earth? Once you will mining it. The extraction of minerals and metal from the earth is mining. Next, underground and open cast is a method of agriculture, mining, housing, transportation. Underground and open cast is a method of, it's not a method of under agriculture, it's not a method of housing, it's not a method of transportation. Yes, it is a method of mining. Underground and open cast is a method of mining. Your answer is B, mining. Next, this is an effect of transportation. Which is an effect of transportation? Air emission, material consumption, solid waste generation, acid mine drainage. So this is an effects of transportation, solid waste generation, right? What is the effect of transportation? That is solid waste generation. Hope you will understood this session. Okay. If you are having any doubt, you just write to us. We will try to solve your doubt. Okay. For green computing, you need to refer this book, that is Harnessing Green IT Principles and Practice by San Murgesan, G.R. Gangadhar. So at the last, I would like to thank my team members. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.